Today we're owlbears hunting. We have Cyberstorm access.
Is it possible to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh? The short answer is yes, but actually no. But kind of no, but kind of yes. Let's delve deeper into that. If you buy a pack, or even a box, with the intention of plussing, then, unfortunately, you are regarded by the singles, or if you want to be a vendor, by literal cases at a time, where you're going to need a bit of capital to start off.
The coolest artwork in the set, and you know what? It's just a big beefy boy that you could easily special summon. I like it.
If you are a vendor opening cases and cases, the intention is to sell them, not to invest in them. Of course, once you have made your money, you could set aside a few cases or a few boxes as an investment to sell later in the future. Buy the singles. This is advice for anyone who wants to be involved in the game in any way whatsoever. As a player, investor, collector, or even a vendor. The simplest is as a player. You buy the cards you want, you play with them, that's how you play with them. There is no other way to guarantee you get the cards you want, other than something like a structure deck. And there is no statistical cheaper way to get the cards you want, other than buying the singles. Because the cards that you want will either be really cheap, or a little bit expensive, and rare. And it goes without saying that you're not guaranteed to pull the rare cards. Buying the singles as a vendor is a little bit like betting on the future of what those card prices will be. An ideal contender will be a dud of an archetype with some high rarity cards, which you believe will get more support in the future, or has already had a support announced, and therefore it will be good and the prices will go up.
Synchro decks love it, and you know what? So do I. Compulsory evacuation device in a synchro. They better not have Cold by the Grave.
Collector and investor are a little bit linked, because no collector wants to buy something that's really expensive, only for the price to go suddenly to zero. And when it comes time to sell, the investor is going to be selling to a collector. So what is the collector buying and what is the investor selling? And when is it a good time to buy as either a collector or an investor? And when it's a good time to sell? When a set is first released, the card prices are extremely high. They quickly fall after a couple of weeks. However, some cards increase in value, and the value of all the cards in the set is heavily tied to the meta. If you are purely a collector, I've got some bad news for you, which I'm going to let you know right after this break.
Good level 5 support. Unfortunately, there's no good level 5 archetypes.
So if you're purely a collector, wait a couple of years to buy the singles from a set that you like the cards from, and the prices will be drastically lower than they are right now. This applies to ultra rares and secret rares, because by the time a couple of years have rolled around, the meta will have shifted and they will have had a reprint. And if you are a collector, there's another silver lining to waiting a couple of years. A reprint which they may have had could be a higher rarity than its initial printing. For example, Ultra Rare Ecclesia was reprinted as a prismatic secret rare. When it was first released, Dogmatica was meta, and an Ultra Rare Ecclesia was worth over £50. Its price has since fallen to about £5, and even the prismatic secret rare version is about the same price, but shinier. This is all thanks to a meta shift and being easily accessible for anyone to acquire. Ecclesia has actually had two other printings. A Starlight Rare, which was released alongside the Ultra Rare, and eventually an Ultimate Rare. These are both very high rarities, so what I've been saying doesn't really apply.
In the same set, with a literal pussycat, we have Nightmare Fuel and a bunny girl.
So, Starlight Rares, Ultimate Rares. This is where investing can come into it, in my opinion. 2 years ago, you could have bought a Starlight Rare Ecclesia for £400, and today you could sell it for 500. In terms of percentage, that's a 25% gain. 2 years ago, the S&P 500 was 4,173, and at the time of recording, is 4,205. So if you invested in the S&P 500 2 years ago, instead of an Ecclesia Starlight Rare, you would have gained 0.6%. However, there are many more factors to consider when comparing the S&P 500 to a Yu-Gi-Oh card. In most other instances, the S&P 500 would have beaten the Yu-Gi-Oh investment. Not only that, let's say you had the capital to buy every single Starlight Rare Ecclesia. There just aren't that many, and there also just aren't that many buyers. Whereas with the S&P 500, click of a button, bought, click of a button, sold. And the same applies to any other stock. Just click a button. Not only that, some high rarity cards, like the Ultimate Rare Ecclesia, have not increased in value. In fact, they have actually decreased in value.
However,
2 years is a terrible long-term investment, and I genuinely believe that long term, as in 15-20 years, Starlight Rares, Ghost Rares, Collector's Rares, Ultimate Rares, and anything that is extremely high rarity will increase in value. Lulu Walala Lilith, what a stupid name. Cool card though. Will it beat a more traditional investment? Honestly, only sometimes. And the old adage rings true. Do not invest in what you do not understand. There are many cards of high rarity which will not increase in value. Being such a high rarity, they're unlikely to drop to 0, but it's not a very good investment if it drops 1% or doesn't increase.
2 cards are fighting for the spot of worst card in the set. Which card is worse? Let me know in the comments below.
So if you do want to invest in something alternative to the stock market, and you do love Yu-Gi-Oh, but you're not sure which cards to pick, don't worry, I have a solution for you. Buy sealed product to keep sealed. You may not get a 25% gain like the Starlight Rare, but the box will not really decrease in value, and may increase. And after it's finished being printed, every year, hopefully you get about 3, 4, 5%.
I think this card actually has potential to see play. Just because of its name, really. Wannabe. During your end phase, discard it, excavate cards up to the number of unused opponent's spell and trap zones, and then set a trap if you excavated a trap. Nice.
What I was saying about 3, 4, 5% increase per year after it's finished being printed isn't even true. Eventually, the price increases at a much more exponential rate. For example, the first edition box of Legend of Blue Eyes sold for $40,000. Now this is an exceptional example because Legend of Blue Eyes is the very first set. So let's use a random set as a different example. Enemy of Justice was released in 2006, making it 17 years old. A box of that sold for £1,000 on eBay. At the time, a box would have been roughly £60. So that is huge gains, much more than 2 to 3% a year. Because each year, the percentage increase actually increased. If you want to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sealed products, there's a couple more things to consider. Out of the big three trading card games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the smallest. So if you buy a case of the latest set for approximately £700, in the hopes of turning it into 10 grand in 15 years' time, finding a buyer might be a little bit tricky. A, because of the price, and B, because this is Yu-Gi-Oh! We're talking about. And the other thing to consider is storage. Cases of cards will take up a lot of room compared to singles. You can turn this card, Titty Dragon, into 2 tokens. Why? Well, you get 2 monsters. Is it a good card? No.
Thank you for watching my video.